Hello and welcome to another episode of Life Talks with Fawole. We have the wizard and we have the amazingly talented, absolutely wonderful, Charni's in the studio. Let's give a round of applause. I'm going to keep going.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you so much for coming. Unbeknownst to you, and I apologise to anyone I offend before I say this, you single-handedly reignited my love affair with poetry. Do you understand? Because I'm casting no aspersions to any poets out there, but everyone's poetry for me is an expression of who you are and yourself and how you choose to express yourself. Some people have an energy that they want to get out, and the urgency for them to get that energy out causes them sometimes to just let it come out how it just say, I want to get out.
Yeah.
Instead of just taking the time a little bit and being a little bit calculated. And if you take a little bit more time to a recipe, even if it's food, to make a bit more time with your recipe and take some time and put your flair on it, it comes across. And I would not pride myself on being at a certain level, but I need to be, engrossed or challenged, after,
you need to be able to made to think.
Yeah, made to think or just be captivated.
Yeah.
Made to think, captivate me, remind me of something. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I heard you for the first time at Box Park, I want to say Croydon. Yeah. Croydon, yeah. Excuse my French, but fuck me, you were amazing. No, seriously, you were so fucking amazing. And it was effortless. It was like your brain, I don't know how it works. Your energy, I don't know where you get your tenacity from. I don't know where any of it comes from. You're a young lady. Where are you from? Your heritage?
Heritage, but both my parents are originally from India.
Okay, a young Indian lady.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of stuff within the Indian culture that holds ladies down and you've been outspoken, irrespective of how intelligent your culture can be. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And most females in most cultures, it was just like, oh my God. It was like, oh my God, I swear to God. It was like, oh my God. Because I was sat there and it's like, people know me. If you see the show, you'll know what sort of person I am. I'm an energy person.
Absolutely.
Like, excuse my French, I salivate. And it's like, I bought your book on that night, right?
Yes.
Bought her book, right? Telling you, if you ain't got it, get it. You got two books out, right?
I got 2 books.
We're going to talk about that for the show. But if you ain't got this book, get it. And you want to know why? I flipped the pages this morning. Oh yeah, this was an inscription she gave to me. Just before I let Chani get started on her life and talk about her, this is the inscription she gave to me on the night, right? She signed it to the person that was with me. She didn't know, but it's all right. The person that paid for it, but that's fine. Still got the book. And then I was flicking through the book and it's just, I like the length of your poem because if you can't say it in a few words, what's the point of saying it? I don't mind long poems, but if you can't say it in a few words, what's the point of saying it? Is this the new one?
This is the new one.
No. I mean, I wanted to find the one because I had asterisks some pages.
Oh, okay, you've already annotated.
Yeah, no, seriously, because you gave me another book. This isn't the new one. So I read this. This is just small things. Wake up with determination. Go to bed with satisfaction. Wait until you see life's reaction. Oh my God. 3 lines. 3 lines. Did you not hear that at home? Let me tell you again, because this is Charni's writing, right? Look. So, and it's the poignancy and it hits and it's just so beautiful. And I'm going to start. You're amazing. No, you're amazing. You got a whole load of, look, I'm going to read a different one and go back to that one and I'm going to leave it to you. Then we can talk about everything else.
Absolutely.
I get so excited by your work. Not everyone excites me like this. The sun does not set, we do. We set about to do things, but we experience setbacks. We set our eyes on something else. Then we end up setting fire to everything else we try to settle in. Then we end up setting fire to everything else we try to settle in. But something always sets us off. We set out to set sail, only to realise that it was a setup. It's just, I'm sorry. And we're going to go back to the first one. Wake up with determination. Go to bed with satisfaction. Wait until you see life's reaction.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm not going to try my best not to embarrass you and everything.
No.
But one more time, you're fucking amazing. Seriously. There's a lot of poets that I like R.S. Poet, your calligraphy poet. You got Scoop. You got name dropping. There's Hamzel. There's loads of people.
Absolutely.
There's loads of great poets out there. You're not the only person that's captivated me. But the night I heard you, I was like, whoa. And those people as well, there's other people I haven't mentioned, but I was
Yeah.
like, whoa. I just want to know, Allah, how did you make this woman? That's it. Talk to me about you. And let's start with your origins.
So both my parents are from India, but I was born and obviously brought up here. So I live in West London, and I kind of had. I think I was a bit different in the sense, like as you kind of mentioned, to be an Indian.
Charni, just your mic, okay? Should we just put it forward a bit for
No,
you?
no, it's okay. It's fine.
Just beware when you turn that way. Sometimes
Yeah,
you get
that's
lost.
fine. I think the difference is being an Indian woman, following a creative career is a bit of is definitely being different. But I still have my 9 to 5 is obviously working in a school, working admin. But this, writing poetry or performing spoken word is like my passion. That's where I get a lot of my drive and all of my energy from. So yeah.
Nice. What was you like as a child?
I was that geeky kid, straight A student, loved school, never left it, never left the education system. Ironically,
nice.
ironically,
That's nice.
but yeah, I mean, I've always loved reading. Even loved, I started writing obviously a little bit, maybe more so in my teenagers, writing different genres. And then when it came to picking a degree, I was like, I can't imagine not doing anything other than English literature.
Nice.
So I did my undergrad was in English literature and creative writing. Couldn't pick between the two, so I did a joint, obviously.
Yeah. As you do.
As you do. Finished my undergrad and I was like, nah, I reckon I could do more.
Yeah, nice.
So I did my master's in creative writing. But over the course of the degrees, obviously, you learn to write in lots of different styles. So wrote non-fiction, wrote fiction, you kind of experiment with your writing a little bit. But I felt like poetry is when I found my thing. When I used to write fiction, a lot of my feedback from the lecturers would be, well, you write very poetically.
Okay.
And I was just like, well, actually, why not I just write poetry?
Yeah.
And just make it make sense a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I leaned into kind of writing poetry more so, probably around 2014, 15. So just around the time when I started my master's.
Nice.
Which is also when I started performing.
Nice.
Just kind of local, like open mics. Then I found out about the scene across London.
Yeah.
And then just trying to go to as many gigs, learn as much as you can, absorb as much as you can, and just kind of kept it going ever since.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm glad you did. So your journey in English in literature, who's your favourite writer? Not poet writer. Who's your favourite writer?
My favourite writer is Cecilia Ahern. So the woman who wrote P.S. I Love You.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a book though, isn't it?
That's a book.
Yeah,
So it's fiction.
Yeah.
I actually did my dissertation on P.S. I Love You and how grief is represented and things like that. And I got to meet her twice.
Nice.
When she released 2 of her books, proper fangirl moment. But yeah, and I just thought it was really important to, if that was something that I wanted to pursue, to be in and around places like that, going to book launches, meeting authors, trying to learn what you can from them, and hoping that would constantly inform my writing. Reading as much as you can, and not necessarily networking, because didn't realise how much of a thing that was back then.
Yeah.
But more so just wanting to be in that environment.
Yeah. Nice.
That kind of thing.
Nice. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I've got 2 older sisters and 1 younger brother.
Okay, so how was that coming up within the hierarchy when you was in literature? How are they all academic like you?
Yeah, we're all academic.
Are they all do the same? Did some math, some science, some literature?
we're all a mixed bag.
Yeah.
So my elder sister, she followed the kind of scientific route. Mm-hmm. She works in mental health.
Okay.
She has I think 4 degrees in total. She did an undergrad, 2 masters and a PhD.
Nice,
right?
nice,
Gill
nice,
family are very academic.
Yeah, Gill family, yeah.
Academic.
Go family, Gill.
My middle sister, she's got a degree in maths.
So I should do that. Go family, Gill. Not.
And so she did a degree in maths. She works at HSBC.
Okay.
Me, and then my younger brother, he's doing a degree in criminology.
Wow. So you're being all different.
All completely different, yeah. The thing is, if you all follow the same career path, as much as my parents probably would have liked us to pick, or to become a doctor or to be the kind of same thing, we had to kind of lean in on our strengths a little bit. And I think if you all follow the same career or same industry, then it gets competitive, I think, unnecessarily.
Okay.
You have sibling rivalries, as you do, but it's kind of nice that you lean in and major in your own way. So you're all experts in your own field,
Nice.
and you can kind of learn and absorb from each other.
And
So
go on.
yeah, so like, for example, like while my sister was doing all of her degrees, I would be the one that would be more like kind of editing and proofreading her dissertations, 10,000 words, 15,000 words, 30,000 words.
Yeah.
You got that at home for free,
Yeah.
So things like that, and you can help each other.
Yeah.
You can help each other. So it's things like that make a difference. But education, like in my family, is really, really important to my parents. So yeah.
I think education it should be important to everyone, period, because
Absolutely.
it gives you so much power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would literally say that you're a champion for me. You're like a heavyweight boxer, but in poetry, because you've gone and learnt your styles, and like you said, learning all the different styles and going out and reading this book and that book and doing the study of literature, getting your degrees. You come out ready for almost anything. Do you understand what I mean? Like you trained hard.
Which is the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like you want to be able to write on anything or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I kind of pride myself on reading probably about 100 books a year or so.
Wow.
And I try to keep that up.
That was definitely needed. 100 books a year.
100 books a year. So on my Instagram
I'm going to keep
page,
this on because I'm going to have to take it off for you again. So I'm going to keep it on just in case. Courteous.
But yeah, like on my Instagram page, I keep a log of all the stuff that I've read. So if anybody wants me to recommend something by an author or a genre, it's really easy for me to find and be like, oh, I read this and, you should read this or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's just there and you kind of connect with the rest of the community on stuff that's quite similar. So it's nice.
I like, so what, any particular genres did you read across the board?
Across the board.
Have you got a favourite genre though?
No, because it's more my reading list comes from recommendations or things that I see, or someone else is reading a book and I think, oh, that looks quite interesting. That's going on my list. It's little things like that.
I'll have some of that.
And, every time you read something, it can trigger a thought or a feeling or something. And that can be really useful, especially when you're writing poetry. I'm the same with music.
I'm learning from you right now.
I'm the same with music.
Yeah.
I'm the same with music.
Yeah, I like all different kinds of music, but yeah. So talk to me about music.
Music was a little bit different. So although obviously I did my degrees and stuff, I kind of old school hip hop, rap, that kind of thing. Wordplay is just different.
Yeah.
100% metaphors, all of that kind of thing. So I'd spend time not just listening to music, but physically looking at the lyrics, the same way you would annotate, you would in school or whatever, but not kind of that granular level.
Like the subtext.
Not make it boring, basically.
Yeah.
But you do it in a different way, and you think, oh, okay, how did they do that? And you kind of find ways around that. You learn techniques, you pick up things, and you think, oh, that's quite clever. And then you find ways to think, okay, now I know how that's done. I want to try and use it in the same way.
Yeah.
So yeah, things like that.
Nice.
I'd recommend trying it. It's good. It's good because it not only helps you understand the artist and the way that they write.
But dissecting the song and listening to the lyrics and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, like Jay-Z's renowned for double entendres, but there's so many other things that he does.
Yeah.
Like Eminem with vocabulary, making words rhyme in ways just because he's able to break down syllables.
Who Eminem?
Yeah, Eminem. Yeah. And I get the very, very thick Detroit accent helps when he's performing. And obviously speed.
Yeah.
And just loads of other things
Yeah.
can massively impact the way that you deliver as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things like that.
And I've heard him going really slow, but the same thing,
can.
slow as slow. But exactly the same rap, sped up. Exactly the same rap, sped up.
So the same way what a producer would do, times 2, times 4, or slowing it down massively, is the equivalent. And even if you listen to the same song at a different speed, it doesn't sound the same, although the lyrics are the same. You know, when you hear cover versions, you're like, I'm singing along because I know all the words, but I have no idea what it is until you kick into a significant part. You're like, oh yeah, I know that chorus.
Yeah. Wow, I've got so many questions for you. I'm going all over the place, but it makes sense because when I saw you perform once.
Yeah.
When I saw you perform. Because I was in Box Park there to do my own poem, as usual, but I absolutely love poetry. I love poetry, and I love what you embodied that night. And I love being captivated. I love being taken on the journey. I love to see people's confidence. I love to hear people's emotions when I can identify with them. I like to see people's sense of humour when I can identify with it.
The best nights are like that.
Huh?
The best nights are like that, where you have every kind of thought process, complete emotional range. You know, no two poems are the same.
Yeah.
Every style is different. Every delivery is different.
Yeah.
And you learn so much. You walk away absolutely buzzing. Adrenaline is pumping. And you just think, yeah, that was a really great night. Like, it was fun. I
needed to go to the gym when I heard you. Like the poetic gym. I need to go to the poetic gym. When I heard you, I was like, yeah. And I'm not giving anyone their props.
Yeah.
But like, I know I've got a long journey to take and everything. But there's one of the
we
people
all do. We all do.
But I'm like, one of the people, I'm like,
Yeah.
And there's some people that come on, you include, there's other people that are out there that have come on, I'm like, Ross Clark.
Stand
like,
out.
whoa.
Yeah.
I need to go and do some push-ups, like poetic push-ups, you know what I mean? Serious. I need to,
weight training with some words.
Yeah, weight training with some words. Because like, this is, you're not that good. And it's not even a thing where I want to challenge you.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, now there's someone I can bounce off of, or now there's something I can work with.
Absolutely.
And I have to say, I respect everyone who goes out up onto stage and talks and actually verbally approach it, whether they read it from a phone or they do it off page.
Yeah.
I respect everyone that does it.
It's hard.
It is hard. It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
But I love it so much more when on top of that, they put that fear factor that they can captivate me or they mentally challenge me.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
I can't hear anything else except for that person on stage.
Yeah.
And you, and I'm not going to stop like blowing your horn, but I'm not going to stop for the whole interview. But you, when you went up, very static, very calm.
Yeah.
You was like you
nervous as hell, but looked calm.
Yeah, I can imagine because I know how I am. But people think, I don't know how you did it. But because this is what came over for me, and this is what I said to other people on that night.
Yeah.
Like you remind me of a footballer who lets the ball do the work. Yeah. You understand that concept?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it. She just came on stage.
Yeah.
Charni came on stage and she was just there and she spoke the poems. She didn't have to like literally how I'm talking now. She just said the words. She gave the words the right gravitas because they were her words. She did what to give them the gravitas. And that was it. You have to come in and say, aye, and when the night comes, it's dark.
I'm not one of those poets, spoken word artists. I think sometimes I aspire to have that level of confidence in using your body on stage like that. But I think I'm too softly spoken for that. It wouldn't match. And sometimes I think it depends on the content of the poem.
Yeah.
You can have certain poems that you can deliver like that and they fit and they suit and they captivate the room.
Yeah.
And there's other poems, probably because of the content that I write is a lot more quieter.
Yeah.
So coming in with this grandiose kind of delivery won't match.
Your poem definitely doesn't need that big grand voice.
I like to think I let the word speak for itself. All puns intended.
Yeah, doesn't need it. That's what I'm saying. Like, go on.
Yeah. The words make her massive.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, it's just massive. The words that have gone into such a small 3 words. You said
those 3 lines. I've got 3 lines there,
yeah.
But it's so poignant. So they hit the numbers right. It's just this is the thing. You don't need to be grandioso when the words are right. Like,
Yeah.
and this is it. This is
And
what
you
I'm
have
trying
to
to say to you.
spend a lot of time trying to get the words right.
Yeah, but you get them right. And I'm saying literally, like, power to you. You could sit in the corner of a room, and there's some poetry questions in here as well.
Yeah.
You could sit, what's it, dun, dun, dun. You could sit in the corner of a room, right? And no one would need to see you.
Yep.
Turn all the lights down, and you could recite your poetry, and it would still hit me.
That,
Because it's the words,
Yeah.
it's your words.
Yeah.
And you could be on stage and stand there and stand absolutely still, and it will
Yeah.
still hit me. You could be on stage, and even if you danced around but said exactly the way you say it, it will still hit me.
yeah.
Because it's
I
almost
think intentionally or unintentionally, that's the way I kind of imagine it. Because sometimes when I go to poetry gigs or spoken word, when you're in a room
Yeah.
and you want to zone in on a
Sorry.
particular artist or poet,
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice to close your eyes and just take it in. Which means you don't really need to, all respect, where it's due.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's nice to just take the words in,
Yeah.
and you feel like you take it in on a deeper level than just
Yeah.
watching someone perform. And I think sometimes that allows for the words to hit a bit more differently.
I saw a poet who actually asked the audience to close their eyes,
Yeah,
and I thought it was an amazing
Yeah.
thing to do.
yeah,
Like, and I mean, when I have a poem that I know will take you on a journey,
yeah,
then I want to use that tool as well.
yeah,
It's a bit off subject. There's a film called Time to Kill.
yeah.
It's with Matthew McConaughey, Samuel Jackson. Have you seen it?
No,
At the end of the film, it's a racist film. It's got lots of racial stuff in it, where a 12-year-old girl gets beaten, raped, all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the film, in the court, the redneck people they're trying to convict them. Basically, David Duchovny tells a story. But he says, "Can everyone just close their eyes?" And
yeah,
he tells a story where everyone's eyes closed.
yeah,
So he tells a story. It's a harrowing story about a little girl, and right at the end of the story, he goes, "Now imagine she was black."
yeah.
Like, and everyone's
They're
like,
yeah,
'cause
exactly.
they're engrossed in the story, you know.
Yeah.
And it's that is another reason why I love poetry.
Yeah,
Taking people on a journey with
Yeah.
your words,
Yeah.
and on your particular journey that is specific to your perspective,
yeah,
because your poetry is also very comical.
yeah.
Like, it's very comical, I have to say. Not in a cynical way, it's just in a real comical way. It goes there.
Yeah.
But it goes there intellectually.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, oh man.
I think there's something to be said about poets who, and there's nothing wrong with asking the audience to close their eyes.
No.
Absolutely not. And I really respect people that A, ask the audience, and B, they actually do it. But equally, sometimes it's quite nice to deliver a poem, and if you're in a position where you can see the audience, if they just do it naturally, because that feels a lot more organic. And you're like, now you're just feeling or thinking about the poem in the way that you wish to receive it, not being dictated to that, you need to stand up to listen to this poem, or you need to sit down, or you need to close your eyes, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. It's like you take it in how you want to take it in, and it will be received accordingly. But I really respect poets that do, and the audience that listen, because audience 9 out of 10 times are like, if you're taking us on a journey, we're going.
Yeah.
This is what we signed up for. We're going.
Yeah. Yeah. If you got the right audience, I hate when people talk. I hate when you got talkers in the room. But yeah, when they go, and I love that.
Yeah.
What is it like being? Where did you come in the hierarchy?
I'm
Your
number
brothers and
3.
sisters? No,
I'm
you're number the third, yeah? And you got a little brother.
Middle child syndrome.
Yeah.
Number 3.
So how was that? What was that like? Coming up, growing up.
I mean,
how
we're
was life?
quite close.
Yeah.
We still are. So even though we're kind of
Do you mind if I ask your age?
so between me and my older sister, it's 5 years.
Yeah.
Me and
No,
my
but
middle.
How old are you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm 29.
29.
I'm 29.
Oh, look at your baby. You're a
Turning
baby.
30 in January.
Yes, then baby. January the what?
31st.
Okay. I'm 31st of December. Okay. I was if it's a Capricorn, I'm
New
like,
Year,
hey, but you're not a Capricorn, are you?
No, I'm an Aquarius.
Go on. Nearly.
Okay. Yeah. So nearly 30. Nearly 30.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, 4 years between me and my middle sister, 7 years between me and my younger brother. So yeah, we're still quite close.
Tell me a fun childhood memory you've got.
Fun childhood
Yeah,
memory.
tell me something funny. Something fun from childhood memory.
Fun childhood memory. I just think all of my best memories are when we're all together as a family. Because when there's that many of you, you know, if we had like my grandparents or other people around, when there's that many people, inevitably it's going to be more fun.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like a party,
good food, good company. You know, someone's going to laugh. There will be stories to be told. Those are kind of my best memories, 100%.
Nice. What about your worst memories as a child?
Worst memories? Well, I think probably one of the hardest memories is when I lost both my grandparents.
Sorry to hear that. Rest in peace.
Yeah, my grandparents passed away 5 days apart
From each other?
from each other.
Wow.
My granddad went into hospital first. Then my grandma, they were literally like in the same hospital, 2 floors apart.
Oh.
Yeah, couldn't see each other because of their separate health conditions. It would be
Like problems for each other?
yeah, for problems for each other. Yeah, it was difficult.
Oh.
That's probably one of the hardest things that we've been through as a family. Tough.
So how old was you?
I mean, it was fairly recent. It's about 4 or 5 years ago.
Because you got all the memories of them loving you and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Notebook?
I have. They were like that. They were like that, very old
It's a nice
school.
ending, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice
And I
ending.
think that was the biggest thing. That's the easiest thing to make peace with. Because it's like, well, you've gone together. Because one
Yeah.
living without the other would have been a lot harder.
Yeah.
And as selfishly as you'd want them to stay, it's not about us.
Yeah. Of course.
And it's like, you know, that's no way to motivate someone to keep going.
Yeah. No, it's
So-
selfish motivations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much because we can't even thinking. If you think about it, they was born in a different time to us.
Yeah,
So what they
absolutely.
see, what they know, only they will be able to identify with each other. Like
Yeah.
you with your husband when you have later on when you're a grandparent, and me and you. Like
yeah.
there's some things.
There's just certain things that because you've lifed together for so long,
Yeah.
they were there for every context. They know, you know, they're like an encyclopedia of each other's time.
Yeah.
Do you remember so and so and so? No, it wasn't. It wasn't on Monday. It was on a Tuesday. Do
Yeah,
you remember
yeah,
that
yeah.
that person? He was in, you know, so and so's class. They used to live three doors down the street from us. You know, that kind of
That kind
thing.
of- I like-
They have that relational memory with each other.
I never eat chocolate. You used to eat chocolate all the time. Stop
Yeah.
lying. Like that
You
kind
know,
of.
it's that kind of old
Familiarity.
it's old familiarity. I mean, they are the convention of an old married couple.
Yeah.
They fight and laugh in equal measure, but it's things like that. You know, my grandma would be like, "Oh, I couldn't sleep last night." My granddad's like, "You were snoring." It's little things like that. It's little things like that that you know, and yeah,
That's beautiful. I like that.
you know, and he would come over and he'd be like, I'm tired, I haven't slept properly. You know, he'd be like, what's wrong? And he's like, she's sitting there saying that she hasn't
sleep.
slept properly, and she was like, she was sound asleep. Like, honestly, and he's like,
love
yeah. it's
What were their names?
so my granddad, well, we used to call them Bibi and Papaji because that's what you call them. in
Say it
Punjabi.
slowly because it's really quick.
Bibi for my
Bibi?
Bibi for my
Bibi,
grandma,
yeah.
and Papaji for my granddad.
Papa, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's lovely. It's nice. I never knew my grandparents. It's nice, you know, like
Yeah,
to
I
learn
mean,
from them and see them and stuff.
Absolutely.
It's nice.
Like when we were younger, they came over when I was born. So they've like raised us essentially because they used to live with us. So we've had they were our whole childhood,
Yeah.
you know, so we've grown up with them. They've got to see us grow up. Yeah, it's that whole thing that
That's
you've kind
beautiful,
of
man.
done together.
I pray that I can have such an influence on my
Honestly,
my grandkids.
I can't tell you how privileged it is to be able to do that because I know a lot of people can't say the same. Yeah.
If you can be with your family, be with your family, please, man. Stay
Yeah.
around. Don't let this new age millennia where they're trying to divide people divide you. Don't let them divide you at all.
You
man.
need the connection. COVID taught us that.
Yeah.
You know, when the world went into lockdown and people who never used FaceTime or video call or anything like that, all of a sudden that became the most important thing because it's not just being able to speak to your family or your friends or whoever, your loved ones. It's also being able to see them.
People knew
Yeah.
what was of value and what wasn't of
Yeah,
value.
it completely reshifts your priorities. And I think the world had a great reset and you reprioritize about things that, you know, are important to you and what's not. And the people, they become that much, you pull them in so much more because you're that much more afraid of losing them.
And then in the flip side, you're also that much more appreciative of having them.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And everyone's at home and everyone's thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the same routine.
Yeah.
And yet we're still calling each other every day saying, oh, what are you up to? Like, we're not all stuck indoors.
Yeah.
You know?
It's nice.
I always used to find that funny.
No,
It's just strange. You check in. You'd want to check in on people. And everyone's like, you're doing the same thing that it's like Christmas Day. Everyone's doing the same thing that everyone else is doing.
It's natural. Though. Human beings do all of the time. Like,
Yeah.
ask you a question that they know the answer to.
Yeah.
And then, or, like, how you doing? I'm all right. How you doing?
Yeah.
Huh? I just said I'm all right. What is that?
No, but it's like when people ask you, how are you?
Yeah.
It's like you'll give the general, yeah, I'm all right. When you ask the second time, that's when they're expecting you to give a bit more of an honest,
Answer.
detailed.
So is that the
I
quota?
think that's the thing.
But then sometimes
So it'll be like, yeah, I'm all right, and they'll be like, how you doing? Yeah, actually, you know what? Had a really tough week. You know, and you go
Yeah.
into a little bit more
More.
detail that you wouldn't have done on the first round.
Yeah.
Now, depending on how well you know them, they'll be like, I know that all right wasn't really how it is.
yeah.
So there's something else going on, but I'll let you tell me. So
Yeah.
how you actually doing? What's been going on?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk
And
about
then you
it.
start getting into
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
It's the same.
I'm gonna ask you. We're gonna mix and blend.
Okay.
Can we get a poem?
We can get a poem. Yeah. Do you want to get a poem? You want a poem now? The wizard wants a poem. Would you mind reading us a poem for your book?
I'm
Please.
happy to.
Cool. Yeah. Cool.
I can do the one that I performed at the one that I started my set with on my grandparents. It's called
Okay.
Celestial
I mean,
Bodies. Should we do that one?
it's entirely up
I
to you.
hope that I remember.
Sure. Is it in the book?
No.
Okay,
No,
so I hope you
that
remember
was
too.
a
But I'm going to close my eyes. If that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to close my eyes. Thank you. I'm not going to say anything till you're finished. Let me know when you're done.
Okay. This one's called Celestial Bodies. My grandfather was the Milky Way. My grandmother, his universe. Together they had 9 planets, of which my father was the 3rd. They named him Earth. He meant the world to them. He spent his days orbiting. My mother, his only moon. Together they gave birth to 4 directions. Ravi, the North Star. Ash, the sunrise. Me, the southerly wind, the bringer of storms and late autumn. And my brother, the sunset. That's it. That's all I can.
That's beautiful. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's lovely. That's beautiful.
I can't remember the rest of the poem.
I remember the poem from that day now, and it's yeah. The constellation, the stars. It's nice. It's nice.
Well, I
nice.
wanted to capture a way of incorporating the whole family.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought the idea of celestial being something to do with stars. Like my grandparents had 9 children, 9 planets.
Well
My
done,
dad
yeah.
was the 3rd, the world, Earth, 4 kids, us, 4 directions. And it was me trying to find ways to kind of honour all of us. Yeah.
Very intelligent as well. That was nice. No, that's nice. Really nice. Why did you write your first poem?
Experiment. Just trying something. So just like any other writing style or genre, I thought, okay, I'll just try it, give it a go, and we'll see what happens.
What was it about?
It's actually, I think, the first one in here.
Ooh, I like that.
So I
I'm
think
glad that's
so.
there. Oh, go on then. Would you mind reading it to us?
Yeah. So
you.
the first one that I wrote was I water my dreams with tears. It's the only way it makes things clear. It makes you realise what you hold dear, to scare you out of your comfort zone and conquer your fears. Life runs at its own speed. We're not changing gears. You listen to everything, but no one hears. An insult is a compliment with jeer. An admiring look with a leer. Does it push you further or near? Success is in its own time. It's just a matter of years. Yeah, that was the first one that I wrote.
That's what we do, right? We're here. We give your hand out. We're going to go 3 times. It's 1,
2,
3. That's what we do. When I respect someone lights on, there's 3. I have to do this too. That's your first poem, and it made the book.
And it made the book.
I like that.
After lots of edits and changes, it made the book.
Edits and changes necessary. This is gonna be my my pocket companion for a week or two because it's easy to read and it's got good stuff in it. I like that because I never picked it up since I bought it because of life and everything. Because I knew I was going to see you. I picked it up and I was like, damn. Then I was like, that's the Rick Steele stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I remembered why I loved it so much. Why I loved you as an artist so much.
Yeah.
And was so kind of engrossed and captivated on that night. I'm not talking about no one else, but there's someone else that should be coming on as a poet as well. But
Yeah.
they'll have their own light to shine on them. Do you know what I mean? We'll talk about them when they're here. Do you know?
Absolutely.
Right. Why did you perform your first poem?
Conquering a fear.
Fair enough.
Public speaking is scary.
Yeah. Don't I know it?
Yeah.
Don't I know it?
And it was more so, I just wanted to see what it felt like. Standing in front of a room full of strangers and reading something that you've written is incredibly vulnerable. And I think
letting them pass opinion, whether it's verbal or silent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that as well, isn't it?
I'm naturally quite quiet. I'm an introvert at the best of times. So I just thought, I wonder what would happen. I want to know what that feels like. But I guess it's the buzz of the adrenaline after you perform that you're just like, actually, that's okay. And, it was about learning how to be just a bit more confident in myself. And I think when you got to push yourself out there, that is to the extreme. So obviously audience sizes can vary, but when you're performing once and, the audience sizes change, it can get bigger, it can get smaller, but you can adapt accordingly.
This is a spin-off for that one. What do you prefer, big audience or small audience?
Depends on the venue. It depends on the venue.
You really are technical. I like this one. So, you drew the schematic. If they're sitting like this, it's okay.
It really does, because sometimes I think, and lighting, because depending on what you're performing, sometimes it's easier for you to just zone in on what you're saying and not have to, because some stages that they have, the lights are really bright, you can't see the audience anyway. So even if you wanted to interact and kind of connect with the audience, you can't really see them.
Of course, yeah.
So there are places like that, but Croydon is
You got something like that?
Yeah, but sometimes it's quite nice when audiences are silent and you can see their facial expression or their body language, that you feel like, oh, okay, people are still taking it in. They could be completely switched off and you have no idea. So it really depends on the venue. But I think it's just, sometimes it's the egotistical thing of saying that, oh, I've performed to 200 people, or I've performed in front of 300 people. It's that kind of thing. But for your own level of confidence, it's just where you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, people play at Glastonbury.
Yeah,
People.
RS done Glastonbury. RS poet done Glastonbury.
Yeah.
You done Glastonbury?
No.
Okay, I mean, it's just, I don't, I think that would scare me more than a smaller crowd.
Yeah.
Because although our art form is our art form,
Yeah.
I'm like, how many people would keep quiet in this audience compared to it's too many people there, and I want to keep everybody here quiet, and I'm not trying to keep everyone quiet, but I would like to be listened to if I took time to write the piece.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So
and I think that's why it's important if you perform in different places, because you're going to have varying levels of audience noise. Performing in a pub and performing in a library are two very completely different things.
Yeah.
So you have to find different ways of making yourself heard without politely telling people to stop talking.
Yeah. What would you do?
What would I do in...
No, what do you do? Do you have any ways to get yourself heard? I mean, what? I'm going to get tongue-tied.
I'm of the belief that it's like they announce your name, you go up there, it's your time, you do your thing. I don't care if there's 100 people talking, 10 people talking. I'm there to do my job. I did my bit. If you want to listen, that's the audience's decision.
I got a tip for any poets out there. This is my good friend. My good friend is he's my brother, my confidant, my consigliere. He taught me this, and every time I use it, it works. Sometimes I don't use it.
And you suffer for it.
I suffer for it, or I don't feel as composed or whatever.
Yeah.
But it takes a little bit of kahunas. That's not kahunas, is right?
Yeah.
So you should just go up to the stage, stand in front of the mic, don't talk.
Yeah.
don't talk
Yeah.
until everyone in that
else in the
room is
room is
looking at
sun.
you.
Yeah.
Then
It's
what
like
they-
classroom style teaching, isn't it? Yeah.
What's they're waiting, they're poised, and when you've got their attention,
Yeah.
then you let loose.
Yeah.
If you don't get attention, you just stand there. That's why it takes kahunas, because you
Yeah.
be standing there for like 3-4 minutes maybe
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
because you've got some people in the back too. But whenever I realise what's going on and they stop
Yeah.
and you drop, then
Yeah.
so much more gravitas. So if you can manage that, guys out there, please, I beg you.
You have to learn to get used to with that uncomfortable level
Yeah.
of silence. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But even the
They do. I'm pretty sure they teach that in like drama or like acting, where
he's
they get
my drama coach. Though he's my coach.
Like, so you have people where you have the audience, and you don't say anything. It's just like a training exercise, if you like, where the person, actor, actress, whoever will go on stage. You look at every person in the room, don't say anything, and then you walk off. But you have to take everybody in. So when you get off stage, someone will approach you and be like, "Oh, what color was that person's hat, or what jacket were they wearing?"
Wow.
So just to see how much attention you were paying into what you were doing. So when you're taking the audience in, that's what they mean. What person was that color's eyes? What earrings were they wearing? What pattern was that kind of thing? And you have no idea what they're going to ask you. So you feel the need to have a good look. And then be like, okay, yeah, I've seen.
You've got to answer properly.
Yeah, if you're going to answer properly. And it's not that it's about what happens if I get it wrong. It's just learning to take the audience in.
Learn to be still almost.
Learning to be still. And it's most people, if they're uncomfortable with that level of silence, they want to fill it. I'm sure you've seen it. Poets on stage, hosts
Done it.
or poets on stage in between while something's happening. So like, how's everyone doing tonight? Everybody having a good time. It's like filler conversation. It's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah. And it's just, when you look in someone's eyes and you don't know them,
Yeah.
and you're looking right
It's
back
like,
at you,
and you're like, this is awkward.
It could take a lot. Because someone else's eyes, it's a lot. Being up there, it's hard to maintain. It's a lot. You've got lovely eyes, by the way.
Thank you.
When I say because I've been looking for a little while right now. You've got really nice eyes. You really nice eyes. What's that? What's that if you were I can't even read my own handwriting. I should have been a doctor. If you were a fruit,
Yeah.
what kind of fruit would you be and why?
My
Very random question. I don't know. It's my poetry question. I've got another page over it. Oh, no, I haven't.
instinct is to say apple.
Apple.
I
Why?
eat apples every day, and I have a poem that I wrote about, not being an apple, but in the context of what it would be like to be like it was a family. The poem's about a family tree, and I imagined myself as being an apple on that tree.
Nice. What does poetry mean to you?
Wow, that's it.
I've got a list of questions here, a list of them. I thought we'd warm up first before I really went in. But
Yeah, no.
'cause everyone's different,
What does
isn't it?
poetry mean to me? I think poetry is both the driving force behind everything, but it's also that natural sense of relief from everything else. So as much as it is behind the scenes, it's also the thing that's at the front. In the middle is just me, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it means a lot to me. It's my ability to articulate and express myself in the best way. So the person that I am on stage, the writer that I am, to me, that's the best version of myself that I'm showcasing to the world. That's the way that I look at it.
Nice. Where does your passion for poetry come from?
Passion for poetry, I think, comes from lots of different places. Reading, music, just being inspired by things. Seeing something that makes you think about something and you'll be like, oh, that'll be a really good idea for a poem. That thought process. And sometimes it's not even having to have that thought process. It's just being able to just think about things in that way. So even if you don't get a poem out of it, but I really enjoyed the experience, that's worth it in my eyes.
Yeah. You know that there is so much like like you said, there's poetry in absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And you could write a poem about anything.
Yeah.
And you could talk poetically about anything as well. So it's almost everywhere.
It's both. Yeah, it can be very liberating to write about everything, and at the same time, because you can write about everything, well, what are you supposed to write about?
Yeah, but then you see, that for me, what I would do is, like you said, you have a conversation.
Yeah, you have a
Talk about
conversation,
stuff.
you talk about things, and it
And
makes
then-
you think about things,
Yeah,
and then you think,
and
there you
just
go,
pick
you got an
one thing,
idea,
it's
yeah.
like if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, I hate when people look at me. You're like,
You write about the bad day.
yeah,
You write about the bad day.
Just write, yeah.
Write about the bad day, and it will probably be easier for you to recover and deal with than probably having to talk to someone and saying,
Definitely.
you know,
Definitely.
I've always found that to be
So
true.
much therapy
It's
in the pages.
Yeah.
So much therapy in the pages.
The page has more patience
God.
than any person will give you.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
And even when you recite it, like depending on whether it makes it to the stage or makes
Yeah.
it to the book and everything, even when you recite it and other people receive it, the energy that you wrote it with initially,
Yeah.
even though you remember it, can still be there.
Yeah.
It's like it's another level of vindication for you when you get it
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah.
And it's even better when someone, I thought
But
like that too.
I felt like that too.
Wow,
That's
is
what it That's what it's about, because it's
That's
like
the money right there.
because it's more so that, okay, I've expressed the feeling.
Yeah.
It could be a difficult feeling. I've had a bad day, and you're just like, it's your way of venting, let's say, right? Rather than having to explain it to someone else. You've got it down on the page. Sometimes when you get to the point of recital, the venom necessarily in your voice could be, you'll see how much you've moved past it when you start to deliver it. If you're still angry, it will come out.
Yeah.
If you're like, I've made peace with it,
Yeah.
the delivery will be very different.
Yeah.
But then when the audience come out after you, like, you know what, I had a day like that last week. You know, or I was stuck in that headspace for 2 months.
It's a
So
lot.
you know that actually what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, it's not just me.
Universal.
And it's a universal thing, it's a collective thing. And that can be quite reassuring that, okay, it's not just me. You know,
That's the
it's-
beauty. I think
yeah,
that's one of the beautiful
100%,
things.
absolutely.
Because, like you said, we're going through this stuff. We're doing self-therapy by writing down the book.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
when you realise, there's like 10 other people had the same feeling
point,
that day.
yeah.
It was just as pissed about this as I was.
Yeah.
Or just as upset or just as happy as I was.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. It's like, okay.
But I mean, it's the good thing is, because we're all human beings, we have that universality. They're like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Love that.
And that's what makes it resonate that much more.
Yeah. It's
100%.
So it's if your poems, I think I'm gonna know the answer to this question anyway. What was your favorite poem? Okay. If your poems were colours, what ones would they be? If your poems were colours, what ones would they be? Sorry, I don't want to get into the mic, that's why I did that.
Varying shades of blue.
Varied shades of blue.
Varying shades of blue.
Nice.
Blue's my favourite colour.
Nice.
But it wouldn't be one shade. It would be different spectrums of that
The
same.
blue.
Yeah.
And you can have sky blue, you can
you
have
can
blue,
have blue.
blue.
You could
and
have
ocean
navy blue.
deep
You
navy
can,
blue.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like that.
Never thought about it like that, but yeah, that's
you
what
can.
it would be.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're here to ignite some other thoughts, as you do. Charni in house. Who's your favourite poet? Not you, and why?
I don't think I have a favourite poet.
Okay, then let me leave that question. What's your favourite poem? Yours or someone else's, and why?
Rudyard Kipling's If.
Oh God! Give me three. Give me the three. The 1 and 2 and oh shit! Now, yeah, give me three more. Yeah.
The reason why I love that poem,
Big poem.
and I know it's kind of like, I know it's like an obvious one, and it's very stereotypical, but what I love about it is Kipling wrote that for his son. And the poem is kind of, the way that I think it's written, I could be wrong, or the way that I interpret it, it's like, if I ever wasn't around and you needed some life advice, this is what I need you to remember that I've told you. So if you can do all of these things, basically I'm still with you, I've got you, it's okay. And sometimes that level of reassurance is enough. Yeah.
That was one of my first poems.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if like I know I performed it many times.
Yeah.
I think before I even performed my own poetry,
Yeah.
I was performing If, because it really
I've seen a lot of kind of slam poets do their own versions of it, but it doesn't hit the same because it's very obvious to the judges or whoever's kind of going to be judging the work, whether that be, you know, whether you've got 3 judges or the audiences are judging. Is straight away you know from the way that it's written, they're like, okay, you've just taken that poem and written it in your own way and just tried to see what happens.
It's not original.
But the thing is, it's like, if it's not necessarily original, but it's your own take on the same thing. So sometimes, I mean, it's a good writing exercise to do. So you take a poem or a song or whatever, and you put you in it instead of what your interpretation of whatever that is.
Do you think that's cheating? Do you think that's a skill? Do you think that's laziness? What do you think is a good? Like you just
It depends on how well it's done. I think sometimes there's borderline plagiarism depending on how you do it. If you're using the source idea and kind of make it, I think it's more so the way that you make it your own. If you put it together and you couldn't tell that was the original source, that's different.
That's good.
But then there's also times that I think sometimes it's quite nice to honour the person, the artist, the writer, whoever, to say, I was really inspired by this, so I wrote this off the back of what you've written. And it's quite nice to give someone else their flowers as well. But it just depends on how well it's executed.
I concur. There's a few other poems out there, like classic poems that I really like. There's some poems that are just like, they were classics, like Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe, thank you very much.
Yeah.
The guy who wrote The Night Before Christmas. The Raven's Edgar Allan Poe, innit?
Yeah.
There's Night Before Christmas, there's If. There's a lot of Shakespeare stuff, but I absolutely love Shakespeare. I don't care what he wrote, I love it. I love it. Whether I could understand it or not, fucking love it. I swear, I just love it. And I just love it. I can't say anything bad about Shakespeare. Don't know why, but I just love it.
I think Shakespeare's different in the sense that although it's written, you have to remember that it's to be performed. And I think when you get caught up in just reading, when you see it performed, you take it in differently. The comedy, the insult, everything.
It's different.
If you watch lots of different adaptations, you see how differently it's interpreted. So it makes a difference.
I'm an actor as well, so I love it. You know, like, what's that one? Romeo and Juliet. Do you bite your thumbs? I do bite my thumbs, but I don't bite my thumb at you, sir. But I do bite my thumbs, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. And then Much Ado About Nothing. Oh man, that's a lovely play. Yeah. There's so many connotations in that.
Yeah.
When I read it, and then when I saw the Kenneth Branagh adaptation, woo!
Yeah.
I'll go all the way over there on that. Who are your top 5 modern poets?
That's hard. Written or spoken word?
Let's go with spoken word. Or you can mix them.
I don't know.
Because you know what? Let's get 5 written and 5 spoken word. How about that?
I don't know. I think
you can ask any questions you want, Wizard. I know you've got some questions right there, man.
I think there's lots of. I have different traits or certain things that I respect of other writers and artists, but not necessarily. I don't know. That's a hard question.
Okay, give me 2 of each.
I think to be able to perform like K Tempest.
I'll
I'll
have to check her out. K
Tempest. So Kay, formerly known as Kate Tempest.
This isn't actually a question. This is research for me.
Yeah.
Is she a musician, Kate Tempest?
She does music as well. She's written quite a few books. Hold Your Own. I think it's Hold Your Own was one of the books, but she's recently got an album out. So she's kind of a bit of both. So she's performed at Glastonbury. She performed. Spoken word and music or whatever as well. But I think that's kind of like peak level of poetry, if that makes sense, to be able to expose yourself to that many people. I think is, that's the kind of game changer. Because I think the difference is sometimes I think audience size matters because it's about how many people you're able to be seen or heard by. You know, and to be impacted by it, not just for not just for the sake of it.
Yeah, we're doing it. That's what we. That's what I'm sure that's what we do our stuff for. So someone can identify with the stuff. So it's not just that you're impacting
everyone.
A larger group of people.
A larger group of people. Yomi Sode is someone I respect. Huh? Yomi Sode.
Yomi Sode? Yeah. Hey, Yomi Sode. Did you say Yomi Sode?
Yes, I did.
Yomi Sode. He's a Nigerian, isn't he?
He is.
From Yoruba guy. Yomi Sode. Give me free. Because he's from where I'm from. Yeah. Talk to me about him. I never heard him though.
He's a poet. He's a spoken word artist. He's written plays. He's got a book out at the moment called Mannerism. And his work is incredible. I've, followed his work for a number of years. He hosts.
He's Nigerian. What would you expect?
Well, yes, exactly. He used to run an event called Boxed In at Box Park in Shoreditch, but also one that he still runs at the moment at Rich Mix.
I met this guy.
Jordance, yeah.
So wait a minute. No, hold on a minute. Pump the brakes. I met this guy.
Yeah.
Like I met him live.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I knew his name was him. I didn't know it was the guy I was meeting.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to go to Jordance since I went to Jordance once, right?
Yeah.
And I put my name in the hat because I didn't know it was a hat.
Yeah.
And I never got picked. Right?
Yeah.
And then I've been trying to find out when it's on again, but online I couldn't find it at all. Is it still running?
It's still running. Second Wednesday of every month, I think.
And I vowed to go back and just because I wanted to perform on the stage. That's what I wanted to perform on that particular stage and other stages as well. But I just wanted to perform, and I thought I went there, and as poets, I'm prepared.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there in the corner.
I think it's one of the best and worst things about Jordans. You put your name in the hat, but you spend the rest of the time thinking, "Oh my God, what happens if I get picked?"
Yeah, and you don't want to get picked, and you're like, "Oh, why didn't I get picked?" Oh, mate.
Yeah, but then the thing is, it's like if you know you're performing, you're in a different headspace than if you're just being an audience member. Yeah. So I think I've been incredibly lucky that there have been times. The first time I put my name in, I got picked. There was a series of, I think it was a consecutive couple of months where I put my name in the hat and I got picked, and it was crazy.
So lucky. I thought it was the first come, first serve. I got there waiting in the front, waiting for ages. Rip my name down.
Lucky dip. If you get picked, you get picked.
Mate. But yeah. So those are the two: Kate Tempest and Yomi Sode.
Yomi Sode, and there's so many people. I don't know who else to name. But Yomi Sode is someone I deeply, deeply respect. Yeah. Because I've seen him grow as a writer and a performer. He did a show after the release of Mannerism, and it was like that's the kind of bar that's now set for poets and spoken word artists.
After the Butchers, what he did a set, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like you read the book, but it's like a performance show of So he performed some of the poems, and I just think it was, it's one of the most incredible things that I've seen. And like every time that he does something, he completely outdoes. He completely outdoes what he did before. So it's like every time it's a new benchmark. And I think from a personal point of view, to be able to grow and develop yourself like that in your craft, and to be able to kind of have the audience that captivated in what you're doing, I sat in there and you feel everything. You sang along, you laughed, you cried, you experienced every emotion. And you kind of think, that's what I want to do. To be able to have the ability to do that.
It's touch everyone.
Touch everyone.
Cry. Yeah, he's touching everyone with your words.
Yeah.
And your performance.
But to be able to, I think that's the kind of goal, to be able to move a group of people in that way is just phenomenal. I learned a lot from that, And it's like everything that you see, you absorb and you take in, and you think about how you could do things. But I thoroughly recommend it. You should get
the book or the play?
Mannerism, the book. You
I've written it down already.
You need to get the book.
I'm taking notes. I am taking notes.
No, you're taking notes. I can see.
Grad, so PhD.
Sorry.
PhD.
No PhD.
Okay, but you're a graduate, so one of the things you've done, I'm going to take it down, you know more than I do. Yes, you do. What's your favourite quote and why?
There's 2 days that are most important in your life: the day that you're born and the day you find out why.
Nice. I like that.
Because I think the reason your purpose quote can change. Every time you think that it could be one thing, sometimes it can be for something else. And I think, rightly or wrongly, people spend a lot of time thinking it's just this one thing. When actually we're all, very multifaceted beings. We have a lot of skills and knowledge in different ways. It can be more than one thing. And we shouldn't bog ourselves down with trying to be like, this is my purpose. Might not be. Could be something else. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try not to pursue something, even if that's not the case.
Yeah. If you had superpowers, what would it be? No, if you had a superpower.
If I had a
all
superpower.
of that provider, when I messed up the question.
I was thinking of two completely different things there. First I was thinking if I had a superpower, and then I started thinking if I was a superhero, what would my superhero...
It's almost the same thing.
It's almost the same.
If you had a superpower, what would it be and why? If you had a superpower, you could choose your superpower.
I don't think you need a superpower.
No, but if you had one, you don't need to. I think your poetry is your superpower.
I would argue that would be my superpower.
I think it is your superpower. I think it is.
I think writing.
The way you can word.
I think everybody has at least one thing that they're good at. That is that superpower. Whether you acknowledge it or not is a completely different thing. Everybody says things, the ability to mind read and fly and all of that. We don't need to do it. Whatever that one thing is, you just need to lean in on that. That is your superpower.
Like that. Well, I've done my questions for the book.
Okay.
Let's talk about the second book. Let's talk about how getting the book out. Which is first and which is second?
So Impression is the first one.
Okay.
This was the first one.
So what was it? How did it feel to get it published? And what did it take for you to get this published? Like, because only you know what it took. Everyone's like, oh my God, what a nice book. And Charni, so great. I knew you could do it. Oh, your poems, they touch me. And
it's a journey. Publishing is hard work. So ever since I've been writing, I've been kind of getting work out to publishers or magazines, journals, that kind of thing. But I've always wanted to have a body of work to actually put a collection together. When we went into lockdown, I actually submitted something to a publisher just before. And I kind of got the okay to say, we'll publish it, we'll work on it. So over lockdown, I kind of went back and forth with drafts and it kind of came together. So it was released during lockdown. And because everyone was at home and bored and people needed something to read.
They bought it. That's the way to do it. You release at the right time. That's strategical releasing.
Intentional, unintentional, it came out the way that it did.
Good.
But yeah, I was, because it's the first one, you have a different level of pride for that one. It's your debut and you want to make it the best of everything. So yeah, I think there's a different level of pressure, I suppose, or work that goes into that one. 100%.
I'm trying to get my book out.
You should.
No, it's finished. It's just I will.
You should.
Dare I say we will?
There's enough people here. The Wizard will hold you accountable.
Dare I say we will? Yeah.
2023. We're going to make it happen.
So the only way is up.
Why do you call it Impression?
Just a random title. I've learnt this technique, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but you listen to songs and you think of a word that sticks out of it, and that becomes a title. Now, I can't remember the original song that was from, but the word impression kept sticking out in my mind. And I thought, you know what, it's my first collection, it's my impression of the world, it kind of fits. And I've learnt from other artists that kind of have done the same. You know, Craig David listened to Biggie. Second album was called Slicker Than Your Average. You know, that kind of thing. You know,
Is that what his second album is, Craig David?
Slicker Than Your Average, after Born to Do It. Yeah. So at the beginning of Hypnotize, if you listen to it again...
You know, I've heard that. It was Slicker Than Your Average. I know
that
the
line
lyrics.
stuck. The line stuck.
Yeah.
J. Cole had the same thing, Born Sinner. So it was the equivalent where you pick a line out
I
of
used to eat sardines for dinner. That's about, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what I mean. So it's like they listen to their kind of favourite songs or whatever. They think of a line or something that sticks out, and that becomes the name of the album, or that kind of
So
thing.
you got that from a song.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a Jay-Z song, but I can't remember which one.
Jay-Z song as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's it. What about the second book?
The second book was the same.
Same thing as
So For the Moment is I can't remember the original song now, but it's one that he's done with Dr. Dre.
Okay.
Can you see it on camera?
That's interesting.
Can you see it on the camera?
I just think it's a really
Yeah?
I
Can we get
think
another one, please?
I think it's a great way.
The other side of the thing, please.
I think
want
it's
to
a-
see them.
I think it's a great way of thinking of a title. Oasis used to do the same. Liam Gallagher still does it. There's a lot of artists that do it. It's not like it's a new thing, but I think
So when you say there was Wonderwall, not Wonder, where did Wonderwall come from?
no, it doesn't have to. No, for album titles.
Oh, the whole title.
The album titles. The song can be whatever. It's like the names of the poems. The poems can be
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times the title will come after you've written the poem.
Yeah.
And if you can't think of a title, top tip for everybody, you use the first line or the key word that sticks out of the first line. Because I forever can't come up with titles. I can write poems and poems and poems. The title will be the last thing. Or sometimes I'd completely leave it up to my editor. I'll give you full creative control. I'm sure you'll think of a better title than I will.
You have an edit as well.
Yeah, so obviously
poetry?
with the books, obviously you work with an editor, you go through drafts. They help you kind of bring out the best of your work, and really kind of hone in and help you craft it better. So it's like, I get what you're trying to say, but I think you can do this a little bit better, or use different words, or we can lay it out differently, or swap lines, or join poems together, that kind of thing. And you know, some of those ideas aren't things that you would necessarily think of yourself. So you kind of need someone to have their professional hat on to give you that guidance.
And you're advocating it. You think that worked well for you in doing your books and
Yeah.
stuff,
I mean, the thing is, when you write it yourself, it's hard for you to go third person and completely blind as though someone else had written it, because you know the intention and how
You don't take nothing out. You don't want to join nothing together. You don't.
Yeah, you all of that.
That's all right.
Yeah, you know, in your eyes, you're like, yeah, that's the best thing that I could have written, and I've said it in the best way.
Yeah.
No, quite rightly. But obviously there are poems that are a little bit more personal, or ones that you're just like, no, those ones you need to leave untouched.
That's how it is. But
yeah,
staying like that, bruv.
yeah, that's regardless of what happens. I don't care what the industry says. That's staying as it is because I want it that way.
Yeah, man's not hot. I'm not taking a jacket. I'm not taking a jacket.
You know, and it's the whole point of you having creative control.
Yeah.
You know, that it's like, you know, these things I'd like to think I'm fairly flexible. Most of them I just think, actually, I know they're not up to scratch, and I want them to be of high quality. So, and you don't want one poem to be like higher than the other ones. They want to be kind of unison at the same level. So to kind of bring them all up to that stage of like, yeah, and just at a personal point of satisfaction where I feel like that's the best that I've done with that. And I can hand on heart say that. And the editor would back that. Do you know what I mean?
How many poems would you say you need for a book?
Depends.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends. I would say average kind of length is 70, 80 poems, let's say, for example. But it depends on the length of each of those poems. And subject matter. Like, Impression is a lot shorter than For the Moment, but Impression was my first one. And a lot of people felt like, oh, it would have been nice if it was a bit longer. I took on that feedback for the Moment. I thought, okay, we'll go a little bit longer. But the difference was because Impression had 3 different themes. Unless you stick to one, or you have equal number in one, because you want to honour each part equally, Whereas For the Moment is just all life poetry, and I thought actually I can afford to make that one a little bit longer because it's just on one theme. So it just depends.
Okay.
But you'll see some poetry collections of varying
Lengths and sizes.
varying lengths. There's some R.H. Sin poems that are like maybe 15, 16 pages.
One poem.
No, not one poem. A series of short poems. R.H. Sin has, so R.M. Drake has 500, 400. It's like novel length.
So how would Destin? Is it old writer though, right? Or new writer?
Who? R.M. Drake?
Yeah.
No, he's still new.
No, but when did they start writing?
A while. They've been writing.
So different
But
era,
it's just varying different lengths of poetry, and it's your personal preference of how long, how long you want it to be, or what you really want people to take away from it, because you don't want to scare people to have. If like you know what I mean? You see 600 pages, like a doorstop level of poetry, and you're like, yeah, I'm not reading that.
There's no way to conquer it. It's like
where do you start? Exactly. Like if anybody's seen the size of Walter Isaacson's Steve Jobs, it's about 700 pages, and most people just look at it and think, no. But
you've read it, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, it took me about 3 weeks.
I knew you would have read it.
Took me about 3 weeks. I read it after Steve Jobs has already passed.
Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
He's dead?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know.
Where's he been?
I don't know. Steve Jobs is dead.
Steve Jobs passed away.
That was the biggest news.
Wasn't he up there with money and all that? Microsoft, or where was he with? Apple. He was the Apple guy, the head of Apple, the owner, the one who started, isn't it?
Yes.
He's dead.
Microsoft is Bill Gates.
They've got films of it and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Steve Jobs.
So who's got Apple now?
Tim Cook.
Tim Cook?
Yeah.
Is that his son?
No. He's his second in command.
Oh. They're too busy writing poetry or reading or just enjoying the breeze in the trees. Like, wow.
He's been part of a different world.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. I live in a bubble sometimes. I swear, but I'm happy in my bubble at the moment.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss, right?
All the time.
I hate to be the one to tell you that Steve Jobs died. I've got to carry that with me, innit?
No, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
You can bear witness to that, wizard.
At least I still got his phone in my pocket. I'm not an Android man at all.
Do you see your writing transversing into any other fields? Obviously, it's gone into a book, but do you see it going into sort of like a play or a film? I mean,
it could do.
Okay.
I've written a poem. So one of my sister's friends is an artist called Amit, and he's done a portrait of my sister, which was going to go into an exhibition in a gallery. And he'd asked me to write what would be the kind of description of what it's about as a poem. And obviously, it's about my sister. And he goes, I thought it would be quite personal. So there are ways that it can transverse, absolutely. And I'd love to see that. I mean, my background isn't in playwriting, but to do a one person, to do a one person show and just have like an hour of you not necessarily performing poetry or performing different poems, I think would be quite interesting, just on a different level of craft. But then I like the way that I'm seeing spoken word at the moment being used for like adverts or really, for lots of different things, and there are ways that it can be used. I'd love to be able to do stuff like that. You'd want to see how far you can push the potential.
I'm going to send you something, yeah?
I was going to say, even Ayo, some of his work.
Yeah.
You've never seen me perform, though, but I'm going to send you something.
I have seen you perform.
Have you?
I've seen you perform.
Oh, shame. I'm like, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I didn't know you seen me perform. But that's like, I like to perform.
Yeah.
I love the performance. I like touching people like yourself.
Yeah.
And boom, that's it for me.
Yeah.
I don't need no pats on
the
back.
But your energy on stage is your biggest characteristic, because it's like obviously, again, it depends on the poem.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that's captivating, because it's not just the words, it's also your delivery. And that's the kind of thing that I'm like, oh, wow, you know. It's the kind of thing that I would look at and be like, I would love to have the confidence to be that kind of big on stage. But yeah, stage presence.
For me, it's a two-way street. I'd love to have that serenity and that calmness in me,
Yeah.
and just to let the words do the work. Because I you know, I can grasp certain concepts.
Yeah.
But like you said, you know, I can't remember, it happened at some point when we talk about the crowds and all that. Sometimes I go on stage and I rush myself,
Yeah.
I'm a bit shook, or I'm rushing to a certain point.
Which happens.
I know the punchline, and it's like
Yeah.
the punchline kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's natural, isn't it? When you're, and you know, because everybody records everything and there's pictures of everything. I think it's a good exercise to, if someone's recorded a video of you or, you know, whatever, if you watch the footage back, I know there's times when I've been more nervous. The nerves come through because I'm speaking that much faster.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's like,
you can identify the nerves.
Yeah, and you're like, the poem that was 3 minutes is now a minute and a half.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, you got time, you know, and it's that kind of thing. And
I've got something I want to send you to remix.
Okay.
If you can, if you can, I'll send it to you, and you can take a look at it and say, I can't do enough of that. Oh yeah, I can. Let's remix this.
But I think there's things like that I think are really. I think that's what makes it so much more fun, because it can be so much more collaborative, whether it's you two writing a piece together or remixing something, or, you know, the equivalent of putting a verse down on something, that kind of thing is what makes it that much more fun, because it's almost like a response into something. So it's like, I've written a poem on this, what would your response to this be? And I think that can be quite a fun project. Something, you know, some of the best writing can come out of that. Absolutely.
I am in awe of your brain. Just saying. Just saying. I speak out as it comes. I just speak out. I'm in awe of your brain. I'm in awe of your energy. I think you're amazing, and you've only grown like bigger in stature for me. Now I'm sitting across the table to you and actually having you almost all to myself, and talking to you.
Which is like, don't forget about me, just because I'm behind the camera.
I think your brother and sisters and mother and father, and then your grandparents who passed away, rest in peace. So lucky to have you.
Oh, that's very sweet.
I think they're so lucky to have you. I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
And I want to know if there's anything you want to ask me before we wrap up. But I just think you're amazing, Chani. Like, and we're gonna. I hope like this. Dare I say
interaction?
Interaction. Yeah, because I'm gonna say relationship. I'm gonna be like, hold on a minute. But yeah, no, interaction. I hope our friendship can grow, because I think
Absolutely.
you're amazing. I think you'll be someone who will enhance me. Like, that's how I feel about that. So I just.
Well, I think the same. I think we can learn a lot from each other.
Yeah.
I think one of the questions that I would ask you, because I thought...
Go on then, let me see what I said. Go on.
Brace yourself.
Yeah, I am. I'm holding to the table.
So, the podcast, what made you want to do the podcast?
What made me want to do it was, like, I'd have to say, it's just my friend, the voice behind the camera, and the wizard. They enticed me to do it. But what kept me doing it is, like, what's happening now.
Yeah.
Like, I've met so many people like yourself who, it happens a lot of the time, who
Yeah.
I see out, and I'm captivated by, and it happens to other people. You're captivated by somebody, but to have that full conversation. I mean, even at the event I met you at, I could never have had this conversation with you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because everyone was on to you, just finished performing. It wasn't the right place. You didn't know me as well, like you know.
Yeah.
So having this,
I think I knew of you.
You knew of me, bro.
I knew of you.
Wow, man, I feel flat as a motherfucker. You heard my poems and you knew of me, man. Wow. I need a minute.
I knew of you. At that point, I hadn't seen you perform, but obviously I saw you perform on the night.
Yeah.
And I've seen you perform after.
Yeah. So you know of me. I'm within the poetry circuit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's humbling, man. I appreciate that.
So I think I knew about the podcast before the poetry.
Wow.
That way in, yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's good.
Because obviously, I follow your work on Instagram and stuff. Yeah. So I would see, I wasn't sure actually what bit was the main, but then obviously I realised that you have to do things to obviously promote this, and it will be either or. So, yeah.
I mean, the podcast, for me now, it's a labour of love, and it's an opportunity for me to meet people, like I just said, talk to people, get to know people, get people's stories out there, help people as well who's out there, show my personality as well. And it is hella therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
It's so therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
Like I said it before, getting something off my chest, talking to intelligent ladies like yourself, seriously, and lovely people as well. I've had people like men and women. I've had some lovely people across the table from me. Some good hearts, good energy, intelligence. It's just lovely. I don't feel like worthy. Then I've got this gentleman here who is just so fucking amazing.
Works his magic.
Yeah, and it's more than his magic. He casts like amazing incantations over everything as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Then you've got the voice on the camera who isn't here, who is in the same breath. They're that shoulder to shoulder. Yeah. If he's a wizard, he's the barbarian. Yeah. Let's just say that. I'll put it like that. He might not like that, but that's the thing.
New nickname.
Barbarian. But when he comes in, everything's shut down. You know what I mean? Whether we do it, we don't. You get me? And it's just, I love doing this.
I think you've really thrived on it.
Yeah,
if you watch from episode to episode, you see how much you've kind of grown with it.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. You've watched a couple of episodes.
Of course I have.
Thank you so much.
Just as much as you've done your research, so have I.
Yeah, and I want you back. And I would love to collaborate with you as well.
Yes. So, send me that remix, we'll do something.
I will. Chani, do you want to close us out on a poem, please? Any poem you want to close us out on?
You can pick.
I can pick, sir.
You can pick.
Such a cute picture at the back.
Well, actually, if I have...
It's a cute picture, you know?
If I have...
You hear me? It's a really cute picture.
That was a picture when my editor's like, okay, so book's about to go to press, we need to include an author photo. So, yeah, obviously this is during lockdown, so I just put any old dress on and I'm like, okay, here we go. This is going to be my official. You
look cute.
Picture.
Don't worry about it. You look good.
Thank you.
Look down you well, darling.
If you want, I have... If I have my cards on me, shall I do playing cards?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah. Yeah, please.
Should I do that?
I like that one. Yeah, we got time for that as well. Yeah, let's do that. Please.
All right. This one's called Playing Cards. I guess my heart is a playing card, considering the amount of times I've had to deal with it. I'm not calling your bluff, I'm telling you straight off the cuff because I wear my heart on my sleeve that I am a 10 of hearts. 5 red hearts that are reflective of love, and since it mirrors, I guess it shows how love can turn your world upside down. Bottoms of hearts touch like sharp points on darts, hit me, but there's no target, so Cupid can't aim. He might be an archer, but if he's without arrows, then he's a humble observer, but I bet he would probably miss anyway. Both the target and the point, so I guess there's nothing that I can say except that that's not a gamble that I'm prepared to make. The bet isn't worth the hand, it doesn't matter how much you raise the stakes, especially if only one side is the right way. You believe in luck too much. Got more chips on your shoulder than you have on the table. Ooh, snap, it's my call. 2 tens of hearts don't make 20. Is waiting for a 9 or jack to save me, but the jack is telling the queen jokes. It makes her laugh so hard that her crown falls off, but the king catches it. It's a casino royale. It's an 808 of heartbreaks, but like 7, everything goes on top of it. It might be numerically lower like 6, but the 5 senses take over the 4 players, only for 3 to say good game. 2 hearts can't be as 1 if they're not part of the same club. They need an ace of spades to dig under the pressure to get diamonds, and since diamonds are a girl's best friend, and they are forever, I guess I like the hand I've been dealt. Ready to go all in with nothing but a poker face. The house might always win, but I've built a house of cards before. Shuffled better than any dealer because I know what the deal is. Shuffled better than any dealer because I know what the deal is. I know it's a stacked deck. You just follow suit like solitaire. So either it's a royal flush or a fold. Maybe I've held these cards too close to my chest for too long. But the truth is, I never needed a full deck. This is my tell. Deuces.
Yeah! That was calligraphy poet. Poet, is that how I say it?
Calligraphy poet.
How do I say your poetry name?
Seagill poetry.
Seagill poetry. I'm terrible. Yeah, Seagill. I'm talking like my girl. Seagill poetry.
Thank you.
Charni.
You can edit bits and make it whatever.
No, it's fine. We usually leave it how it is. It just shows the organicness of our show. You know what I'm saying? I've really enjoyed having you here.
Thank you very much for
Love
having
to see
me.
you here too, Bazard. That was Live Talks. Give me 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you for coming, Charni, man. You're amazing.
Thank you so much.
Send them again. Seagull Poet.
See you.
Seagull Poetry.